Hey guys, I'm Ed Pizza.
And I'm Steph Sweet, and today we are talking about the things that we don't go to Disney without. It might be things that we don't go without doing or things that we always pack, but we have a list for you and we are excited to share all of the things that you might want to make sure that you do and have as well.
Hello, dreamers of all ages, and welcome to Catch Us at the Castle.
Okay, so we each have a list. Ed, do you want to start off first? Because I think you have a few more than me.
I do, and just for folks that are tuning in, we did not compare lists ahead of time, so there may be some overlap. But Steph wanted to be surprised, so I'll see how much overlap.
Yes.
See how much
I
overlap
like to not share because sometimes I really surprise Ed, and it's super fun just to get his real reaction on things. So,
all right, well, top of my list, just because I am always on my phone, is to bring a battery. And if I can borrow a soapbox from my other podcast that my other co-host, Mr. Kerr, always uses, I am vehemently opposed to fuel rods in the parks. I think the pricing on them is horrendous. I think the battery quality is horrible. We are going to include a link in the show notes for some of this stuff, and you can help support the show with if you click on our Amazon links. It doesn't cost you guys anything, helps us pay for production costs. But I'm an Anchor fan, and so I always carry an Anchor battery. I have a very specific one that I use right now that has a plug on it, so I can plug in any receptacle, say at a restaurant or a hotel, whatever, to recharge. And it has 2 ports to charge various devices with. I charge my iPhone 2 to 3 times, somewhere in between 2 and 3 times over the course of a day. And that is a must for me because I always kill my battery.
yeah, I think it's a must for anyone. I'm like you. I'm a huge Anchor fan too, as well, by the way. It is my favorite battery brand. If you're going to buy an external battery, that needs to be the brand that you get. But I also like fuel rods because sometimes I don't like the weight of the external battery because especially now I've got a bit of gear that I'm carrying into the parks and my loungefly only holds so much. And so that also is not on my list, but I always go with a loungefly and matching ears. Everyone knows that, but that I think goes without saying. So I do love the fuel rods. What you can do though to save on the price is order them off of Amazon ahead of time. They're about $10 to $15 less. So Ed will link to that as well in the show notes. You can get 2 of them for pretty cheap, 2 of them for the price of 1 in the parks, basically, or less than 1 in the parks. And then you have all of the adapters, everything. You can just keep it with you. The nice thing is that, so it will charge a phone once, maybe. Like sometimes
Maybe.
it doesn't charge.
On a good day, yes.
Yeah. If it's an older battery, you're not going to get a full charge out of it. But in a pinch, it's great. It's lightweight. And so you can just swap it out for another one when it's low and dead, and there are swapping receptacles all over the parks. There are also other locations outside of Disney that has fuel rod swaps. Universal has them. I believe it's $1. They charge $1 to swap. Long Beach Airport has a swap as well. They do charge $1 to swap. So most places outside of Disney will charge you $1 to swap, but Disney doesn't charge anything to swap those out. Or fuel rod doesn't charge you anything to swap inside Disney. I'm sure it's part of their agreement.
Yeah, I will. It is part of their agreement. When they started fuel rod, all swaps were going to be free forever. They changed their business model, and Disney said, no, you can't change your business model in our parks. So I will just say that I will politely say that the points that Steph notes about things like sometimes they're older batteries and sometimes they don't work as great are all the reasons why I carry an Anchor battery. But I understand the loungefly dilemma, and I have something on my list a little bit later that I think solves it for people that don't need to carry a loungefly. But at any rate.
Yeah, I absolutely will not give up my loungefly. There was a long time where I didn't use a loungefly. I had a bigger backpack. And I always had a bigger battery with me. I moved to fuel rods, although now I'm going back to the bigger batteries, even though they're heavy, just because of all of the different things that I need to charge. So,
Yeah.
Okay, my first one on my list is I won't go to Disney without checking the weather apps. And there are 2 specific apps that I really like. So AccuWeather is one that I really like. The reason that I like it is because you can do a 90-day forecast. So you can look out, or 45-day forecasts on the free version. You can do 90 days on the paid, which I don't know how accurate a 90-day forecast would be, but the 45 days is helpful when you're trying to plan for a trip and kind of get an idea of what the weather might look like. Then you can also do an hour by hour. So the night before, we like to look at the weather and what it's going to be. It came in especially handy when I brought my daughter who has autism down to Disney World. She realized very quickly she could not be in the park over a certain temperature and over a certain humidity level. It's just way too
Sure.
much for her. And so I ended up getting the paid version so that we could see hour by hour for 24 hours. And it's only like $2 or $3 for the paid version. But that way we were able to sit the night before and say, okay, first thing in the morning, it's going to be 100% humidity, but the humidity wears off later in the day. But here's the temperature. What are we going to do? What is our strategy going to be so that you can be comfortable and happy in the park? Do we need to go first thing in the morning? Do we need to wait and go later in the afternoon and hit the evening? That worked out really well for us. The other one that I really like a lot is Rain Aware. It is very accurate out of all of the weather apps that I've tried. It is the most accurate as far as rain predictability and predicting how long it will rain for. So I love to keep my eye on that one, especially in Disney World. I will say, though, this past week when I was at Disneyland, I did post on my social media, it was a 4% chance of rain. So I hadn't packed any rain anything for Disneyland, and it rained and it really actually, it was a real rain.
Yeah.
And for August in Disneyland, that's pretty rare. But for the most part, I don't know where that storm came from, somewhere, but all the apps missed it. So that's my tip, my first tip.
Cool. Well, yeah, and that's a dovetail into anybody who's doing a Disney World trip. You absolutely positively need to pack a poncho. Now, I would say if we're going with Steph's loungefly restriction, they sell ponchos everywhere in the parks, but they're pricey. And ponchos, as a general rule, are reusable, especially if you buy like the camping version of ponchos. There are dirt cheap ponchos that you can buy on Amazon that are truly disposable. It's like a sheet of plastic wrap essentially, and you just use them and chuck them, and those are much cheaper than the ones at the park. But you can also buy ones that are roughly the same price as the ones that they sell at Disney that are reusable and will last a long time. So depending on what your packing needs are in terms of space, might dictate which one you go with. But I would just say that Brooke McDonald, another Disney influencer, likes to say, if you're at Disney World in the afternoon, it's going to rain.
100%. So yes, the loungefly getting wet is a problem. I usually have a rain jacket and I have rain shoes. I highly recommend some type of rain shoe. I am miserable if my feet are wet. And so I have some really great shoes that are good in the rain and also comfortable. They're hiking type shoes. And then my daughter just got me a backpack rain cover for my loungefly, and it folds up teeny tiny so it will fit in my loungefly. It's amazing. So it works great. It has its own poncho now.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Do you have another one? Is it your turn? My turn?
Nope. What's that? It's your turn.
Okay. So another thing that I always do before I go to Disneyland or Disney World is I check touringplans.com. I've been a Touring Plans user since before they were even a website, since it was just the book. And now it's a website. They've upgraded everything recently. It's amazing. So probably since the year 2000, I want to say. The website came around shortly after that, 2004. Yeah, I always use it. I'm a constant subscriber. I use the paid services. It's affordable. You can sign up for a month. You can sign up for a year, whatever works for your budget. But I always will check their crowd levels to figure out which parks I'm going to go to which day. It is more accurate for Disney World. Disneyland is sometimes just tricky and more tricky to figure those things out for the crowd levels, but I always live by it, especially for Disney World, so that I know which park I want to go on which day. And then a lot of times I will even identify which rides I'm going to ride next using their capabilities in their apps. It's pretty incredible. Their wait time predictability is usually right, spot on, sometimes better than Disney.
Yep. I've been a Touring Plans fan for a long time. I know those guys well. And I definitely think it's worth the investment for sure. There's also a ton of helpful information on the sites that you don't need to pay subscriptions for. It helps you get ready for a trip, stuff like that. But it's absolutely an essential part of planning any Disney trip. Next up on my list is something that I only discovered, call it a year or so ago, from our friends Glitter Mike and Marty. I had seen Hoka's on so many people running shoes, and people told me that they were great the whole bit, and I didn't really know much about them. Call me a troglodyte when it comes to shoes. But Mike and Marty both wear On Clouds, and I'd never heard of them. So I went to the store and tried them, and holy cow! I mean, these shoes are ultra comfortable, lots of padding, and so it makes a huge difference. You and I both do really aggressive park days, lots of walking, and I find I can do 10 or 20 miles in these in a park, standing in line the whole bit, full park days, and my knees and my feet and my hips don't hurt. Before I had On Clouds, everything hurt by the end of my second park day. Call me an old man. But now now it's really not an issue. They're really great. They're not cheap, and they don't last anywhere near as long as I'd like them to last. But they really are the best shoe for a Disney trip.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll also add to that, making sure that you swap out your shoes after you're supposed to swap them out after a certain amount of miles and get new ones. I didn't do that. And I would say that my joints do better now that I'm older and I swap my shoes out more regularly than when I was a lot younger, doing a lot more miles at Disney, or a lot less miles, the equal amount of miles, whatever it is. Anyway, I was a lot younger and my joints hurt worse than they do now. And I think a lot of it is because I am swapping out my shoes more regularly after a certain amount of miles and making sure that I have the best foundation for my feet.
Yeah, I can't speak to Hoka specifically because I'm an On Cloud guy, but I would say a couple of times a year, Dick's Sporting Goods puts On Clouds on sale. I've seen a sale occasionally with On Cloud. The other thing is that if you have an American Express card, there have been On Cloud Amex offers in the past, and those can be fairly lucrative. And so normally, to your point about swapping shoes out, when I see one of those sales pop up, I buy 2 or 3 pairs of the style that works for me. To your point, I tend to go with the trail shoes versus the running shoes because they generally tend to last me a little bit longer.
That's good to know. So does On Cloud have stores, or where do you go to try these on? I think I need them.
Dick's Sporting Goods carries them, so that's normally where I go to try them on. They don't always have all of the styles, and so I tried a style that I shipped from the On Cloud website. Didn't love it, returned it. It wasn't an issue, but Dick's doesn't have the full line. There are a very small number of On Cloud stores around the world, mostly big international travel areas. And so when I am traveling internationally, I do try to stop in and try new styles there just so I know how they fit my foot, because they do have some shoes that are just very different and don't work for my foot type. Same thing with Hoka. When I tried Hoka, some of the Hokas just didn't fit me.
Yep. Okay, good to know. Thank you. You do see Hokas around the park a lot, so this is good to know. Thank you for the information.
Yep. All right, what's next on your list?
Next on my list is for Disneyland specifically. This is one big difference that I've noticed between Disneyland and Disney World. So you need the rain gear for Disney World. Disneyland, you need layers, because it is not uncommon for it to be cold in the morning, hot in the afternoon, and then cold again at night. And so I always make sure that I have a way to layer up, bundle up. And sometimes in the winter, it can even get, it'll get 70 during the day. So you're taking your layers off. But then at night, it's dropping down to 40. That is frigid to me. I'm an Arizona girl. That is, I need all my layers. And with that, I also have a heated vest that you've seen before, Ed, that I wear, that I absolutely love to wear at Disney when it's cold, Disneyland and Disney World. I can put an external battery in it, turn it on, and it will keep me warm the whole entire day. And it's a dream because I get cold easily, as you can imagine, when my normal temperature is around 113 in the summer. I think that I am freezing to death if it drops below 70, and it's miserable for me. So I love my heated vest.
I've seen your heated vest. It's awesome. It's a definitely a plus for colder days in the park. So if you're a diehard like us and you go frequently throughout the year, the vest is pretty awesome. Next up on my list, this sort of goes with your, loungefly thing. If you don't have to have a loungefly specifically, I carry a sling bag. I'll link to this in the show notes. The current one that I like the best is from a company called Alpaca. The reason why I like it is it has a handle, but it also has the sling, so I can carry it two different ways. This is a flexible bag for me because it will fit my iPad with its keyboard. So if I have to go work in the parks, it's big enough to fit that. If I don't have that in it, then I can just pack more stuff in it. But it'll fit a battery, a poncho, an iPad, some charging cords, a couple of granola bars, et cetera, and still be low profile on my back so it doesn't cause back pain. I've had backpacks in the parks. I'm not an anti-backpack guy, especially when you have young kids. Backpacks are super important, but I would encourage folks to try to see if they can get into a sling bag, sized bag, because I just think by limiting the profile against your back, it just makes you feel less tired throughout the day. The backpacks carry more, but they're just loading you down. The sling bag, very low profile, still holds a lot of stuff and makes me feel a little bit less old and creaky by the time the night is over.
I carried a sling bag actually when my kids were little into the parks. So I had everything that I needed for them inside that sling bag. So it's a
Nice.
really good size. I agree. My next one that I always have to carry into Disneyland or Disney World is electrolytes. I keep packets of electrolytes on hand with me because getting dehydrated at all at the parks is absolutely miserable. So especially in the warm months, but even in the cold months, if I'm visiting the parks, I keep little packets of electrolytes with me to make sure that I can stay well hydrated. And if you don't know, you can always ask for a cup of water anywhere in Disney parks where they are serving beverages, and they will give you a free cup of water. I usually have one water bottle that I bring in with me. Once it's gone, I get free cups of water and refill it. At Disneyland, they do have a lot of refill stations. I am a germaphobe, and so I don't like using the refill stations because I've seen a lot of really horrific and scary things. They need to design something that sanitizes it in between uses. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So I'll stick to my cup of water and refilling my little water bottle before I'll ever bring in anything bigger. I know some people recommend bringing in your flask, a big hydro flask, so that you can stay hydrated that way. I don't want that weight, and I don't want to have to carry that weight around. So I'll just keep refilling my water bottle during the day.
Yeah, I'm an electrolyte guy too. It's hard to see, but I got my Noon, which is my brand, and my bottle of Evian this morning. I really go back and forth on the bringing a water bottle in the parks thing, and for me, it's actually on my list. So it's my next thing, and I did list water bottle, and here's why: like the heat in Disney World can be oppressive, and I felt like just based on what they charge for a bottle of water, if I can't finish it before it's bathtub warm temperature, then I feel like I'm just wasting money. So my favorite water bottle is a little hard to get now, and they might even be discontinuing. It's from a company called Think Sport. And the reason why I like Think Sport is they make a thinner, smaller stainless steel bottle, so it's not a big, massive hydro flask, and it fits almost a full bottle of the waters that they sell in the park. And so, to your point, I don't love the refill stations for the same sanitary reasons. So I'll buy a bottle of water, I'll fill up our thin Think Sport bottle. It has a loop handle that I can clip to the Alpaca. And so normally what we'll do is, like, if my wife and I are going, we'll carry one between the two of us and we take turns carrying it. Don't do it in the colder months, but I would say between having electrolytes and wanting to drink those in the park and wanting to keep the bottles cold in the hottest months, we do carry a smaller profile stainless steel bottle.
Yeah, I have a smaller profile stainless steel bottle as well that is a Minnie Mouse bottle that I can put in my loungefly. But I don't mind drinking warm water. I'm kind of weird that way. In fact, I would prefer room temperature water over cold water. So I'm usually fine. But you're right. A lot in the summer months in Florida, it can become bath water before too long. So yeah, for sure. All right, I think you're up.
Okay. Oh, no, I think it's your turn, but do you have other stuff on you?
Oh,
yeah, because I did water.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I've got a couple more things that I can add. Do you have more?
I have two more things on my list.
Okay. So, because I added a couple after we counted up.
Cool.
I have a little med kit that I like to pack up with Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol, digestive peptides, like those types of things. It's really cute. It folds over and can hold everything. I'm now the go-to person out of all of our friends when people need med. I'm really happy that people trust me to know that when I say this is Tylenol, they trust that they're getting Tylenol. So I won't go to the parks without my little med kit, and I make sure that it's stocked. And then I also put in a lot of boning in there because we all know that motion sickness is my Achilles heel. So I make sure that there's plenty of that in there too.
Yeah, no, that's a clutch one, but yeah, my wife always packs that when we go to the park, so the kids have stuff that they need. I usually am pretty basic, just I carry a bottle of Advil with me and just gut through whatever else I need. Thankfully, knock on wood, I don't need boning or motion sickness stuff much yet, but as I've heard as you get older that changes, and there are a couple rides that never used to bother me that are starting to get to that point. I'm like, I don't really love how I feel on that, like Guardians of the Galaxy. So my last one, and then I have one item I always get in the parks, but my last one for stuff is actually two combined, and it's cooling towels and cooling fans. I would just say temperature for me in the parks is probably the biggest kryptonite. Getting hot for me just really saps my energy level. So cooling towels to me work really great, and they hit those like key spots on my neck that really cool me off. We discovered cooling fans about a year and a half ago from somebody in my Slack community for my other podcast. And these are a different version of just the standard fans. They actually have cooling plates. I think I loaned you one when we were at Disney World, right? You tried it?
Yep.
And so there's two.
Amazing.
There's these two cold plates that rest against your neck, similar to a cooling towel. And you can turn it on and off periodically throughout the day just to chill yourself down and get the battery to last the whole day. Downside is that they're not heavy, but they're not light, and so they're going to take up weight if you're not parking them on your neck. But wow, I mean, in the brutal summer heat in Tokyo, they were incredible for us to be able to extend our day. And on those really bad Disney World days, they come in pretty handy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I had a cooling fan for quite a while, a few years anyway, but when you gave me the one with the cooling plate, night and day difference, it's amazing. And I actually felt like I could handle the heat in with the cooling fan. Unfortunately, they didn't work for my daughter, my youngest one, but she didn't like the way it blew on her. So it didn't work for her, but it worked amazingly for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. They are like, that's why I'd never had a fan before, because I always felt weird with the air blowing at me. So I definitely get that they can hit you weird.
My last one that I always have to have is hand sanitizer and wipes. I love to have wipes so that if I sit down at a dirty table, I can just hurry and wipe it down. I don't have to flag someone down to wipe it down. And I always am wiping down the airplane too. So I like my hand sanitizer and my wipes.
You and my daughter are so alike. She can't go anywhere without sanitizing everything within reach of her. Well, I added my last little cute thing of something I need every time. Well, need's the wrong word. Nobody needs to go to Disney World. We just love to go to Disney World. But for us, no Disney World trip is complete without a Dole Whip, which is their pineapple, it's not technically ice cream, but their pineapple splurge, if you will. And in California, don't they still do it with? You can still order it with a slice of pineapple, right? Because you can't do that at Disney World.
I don't know.
So Disney World used to be able to get a slice of pineapple in it, and they stopped doing that. But for a while, in Disneyland, you could get fresh pineapple. At any rate, that's one of my like go-to park treats that just makes it feel like it's a Disney trip.
Yeah, so at Disneyland, I do know when I order Dole Whip, I get the chamoy Dole Whip, which is like all this goodness of Dole Whip and then chamoy and seasonings on top of it that are amazing. And it's not, I can't handle spicy foods, but it's not that spicy. It's more tangy and tart, I would say, on top of and a tiny bit of heat, but not much because I can't handle heat. And then at Disney World, I actually like the orange bird. So I like the orange and the vanilla swirl together like a creamsicle. Yeah, it's good.
I do like orange bird, but we're just, Dole Whip is our nostalgic, so.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, we will include links to all that stuff in the show notes. I do want to ask, just because I can't quite place it, where are you staying? Is that Saratoga?
Oh, you can't place it. Yes, it's Saratoga.
Yeah, the window's a little bit smaller, and I really need new glasses, so I can't see it.
You can't see I think it's Minnie Mouse. There's some mouse ears right there.
It definitely had a Saratoga look, but it looks a little different from the renovated Saratoga room that we stayed in recently, the 1-bedroom. So that's why I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't know how new or old this type of room is. I am in a 2-bedroom, and it's lovely. I love staying here, and yeah, I'll be here for a few more days. So it's good. Disney World is good. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, I am Ed Pizza.
I'm Steph Sweet. Catch us at the castle.